One, go.
Hello, I'm Forrest McCarthy. I'm a senior at Cape May County Tech High School, and I'm part of the pre-engineering class. And for our senior year, we had to do a senior project where we designed, developed, and prototyped a machine or anything that would solve a problem in the world. It started with my three teammates, Rob, Eddie, and I, who built a machine that was used to wash off like sand and other debris at the beach. We came up with this design. We call it the Washaway. Um, it is electrically powered by a DeWalt inflator slash like compressor. We chose this because there's another product on the market called Rinse Kit that uses just the compressed air inside of a tank, but doesn't actually have a compressor to maintain the pressure inside the tank to keep the water flowing. So this is how we improved upon a pre-existing product. I'm going to show you how it works in this video and all the little gadgets and little things that make it work. And this is like our sheet. It's like a flow chart of, so if someone bought it, that's it's very rough right now. You guys have it in like clear plastic paper something, so it keeps it from getting water on it. But anywho, this shows how we would work the product and how you would use it. So we're going to start by I'm going to start by going over each individual piece. So this right here is known as the bypass check valve. This allows us to fill it up without letting water come out. And then when we want to let water come out when you're going to use it, you can open up this valve and let the water come out. So it's basically a safety system. Then we have another safety system known as the pneumatic safety system. This is a safety pressure valve, so if the pressure ever gets too high, it'll let all the air out, and it acts as a valve to let out air in between each fill up. This screws into the back. If you come over here, the back side of this tank, it screws into a Schrader. It's a Schrader thread, and it just screws right on in. So all you gotta do, pop her in there, you'll hear it hiss, and then it'll seal up on that thing, turn it around. Next, then what you're gonna do, you're gonna take your compressor line and thread it into the Schrader thread on this. So take the cap off, you can set that somewhere else. Put it in your pocket, wherever you want to do it. Thread that on here. If that's on, you're fine like that. Then you can put this wherever, put it in your car, however you want to do that. So now you have that set up. Then you want to put your battery into your compressor. So you have this will also show your pressure on here. So this will tell you pressure and will pressurize it for you. So it has its own built-in gauge. If I turn on here, you'll see that there's 0 psi in here. Actually, no, I'm sorry, 9.4. But we'll get on later. You do have to zero that out. So we're gonna follow the checklist now. We're gonna start by the first step of the checklist. You see right here, focuses, is turn off the valve. So you want the valve closed. So this is off, valve's closed. Then next, step 2, you want to attach. You want to attach this, which is it's basically an adapter, so you can thread male pipe thread together. Then you want to take the male side of your hose over here and thread it in here. It's really easy, just thread it right on in. It's like attaching a hose. Right, now that was probably step 2 and 3 together, but it's very simple. So then the next step would be to let all the air out of the tank. So if there's pressurized air in the tank, you cannot fill up the tank with water because your pressure from your water pump won't fill it up. So what we do is we set this here. If you come around and look here, we set the pressure release valve to 0 or start. It lets out all the air, and then now it takes a little bit of time, but it'll come out slowly. It's very low, so if I was to close this up, it would show exactly what it is. But if you come look at the tank, it shows 0, so that's fine. Now you're zeroed out there. So after you do that, it's showing 0 pressure on the tank, and this is at start. Then you could wait even longer and it stops hissing, but it's probably like 2 psi or something to get all the air out. It'd take forever to create a vacuum in there. So what now you're gonna do is you're gonna set it at 30 psi, which is the next step, because that is like the optimum pressure for most of the settings on the nozzle. So we're gonna set that right at 30. You want it right on the line there. That's the next step. That is step 5. Then the step after that, now you want to fit your female end of your hose to your spigot, your household spigot. So you just hook it up to your spigot here. And make it tight. Make sure it's sealed. There's a rubber seal in there, so it seals it. No water comes out, and then you simply just turn on your water and you wait for it to fill up. And you'll hear it start to fill up inside there. You turn this on. You'll see the pressure is going to go from 0. As you see now, it's going to start increasing, but it will never go over 30 psi because the safety release valve that you set at 30 psi in in step 5 will ensure that it will never go over 30 psi. So if you watch here, and it takes about 40 to 50 seconds to fill up. on a household water pump, which can range from 30 to 65 psi. So you'll see here, it's going to go right up to maybe right around 30 within 1 or 2 psi. As see right there, it's reaching 28, and you're going to start hearing the pressure release valve hissing and it's letting the air out to ensure it never goes over 30 psi. And if you read through here, it'll say on step 8, after the tank is full of water, you will know it's full because the pressure release valve stopped hissing. So right there, you know it's done. Right. So now you're going to walk back over to your spigot. And you're just going to close it. Right. Next, now the orientation of your spigot is usually a male, and the orientation of this is a male, as you can see. Now to ensure that like it all can work together, we had to fit this female. That's why we had that, because this spigot is male. This is like what comes out of your spigot, so there's no male to male hose, so we had to make this female adapter. But when you use it, you have to flip the hose around. So this is the next step. You're going to take this off, make sure that stays closed because you don't want all that water coming out. So you're going to move this by loosening this up. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a pain. And if you hold this level, it makes it easier to take it off. There it goes. It's just because it's sealed on that rubber and it has a lot of friction at this beginning. It's coming off now fairly easily. And thread that, you take this one off, and then you basically flip the hose. So you're going to come over back to your spigot, take off your hose. And this is the same hose that would come with the product. Now you're coming over here and you're going to replace it with this one. Thread it right on there nice and simply. It's not hard, it's just like you're using your spigot at your house. And then you take your nozzle right here, you thread that onto the other end, the male end of the hose. Just like so. All right, now comes the fancy part, which makes our thing a lot different from the competitor, would be that ours can be pressurized and held at a constant pressure. So you have this set at 30. Now this will shut off once it reaches a value that you have set here. So say I set it for 20 psi, it won't even run because it's above 20 psi. And actually this won't show psi because this will show 0 until it loses a little bit of water, because there's an inner rubber bladder that compresses the water, that the air compresses this bladder inside. It's a vertical bladder inside of the tank that pushes the water out, so that you don't have like any water sitting at the bottom of the tank and can't reach up here. But since there's a bladder, it forces all the water to the center here, so gravity can't affect how the water comes out. But when it gets bigger, that bladder will seal off the Schrader hole and won't show the actual inside pressure until you use a little bit of the water comes out, and then it shrinks and that hole can be. So right here it's going to show 0. That's fine. But what you want to do is you want to set, but you know it's at 30 because of the pressure release valve was set there, so you know it's right at 30. But you want to set the 5 psi higher, so 35 psi, just using the knob. And then when you start it and you start using it, it'll drop right to 30, and then this will keep increasing the pressure, or maintain a constant pressure depending on the setting you have on your nozzle, and it will last for up to 30 minutes if you use like a mist, or on average, if you average all the different times with all the different settings, it'll average around 5 minutes, which is plenty of time to wash your beach stuff off or whatever you're doing as a portable hose. So now you have that done, you can start it, set it for 35, set it for 35 psi, start, and you have to open up this. And it'll maintain this pressure and distance and flow rate the whole time. There's a shower setting, there's a sweep setting, there are all different types of settings to all different types of things. Alright, so I have it set at 30 psi on sweep, and I'm going to show how it can clean out like a dirty truck bed and all that. So it's got plenty of power to clean all the dirt out. See, look at that. It's got all this stuff to clean all this up. And it's no power washer, but this is just an example of all the stuff it's clean out. Now this might take some time. It might be a longer job than what it can do, but it still has the power to move like big heavy sticks and debris and all that. It's not like a little weak little hose that you could buy, like almost like a garden mister to water your plants. It's a strong hose, stronger than even maybe your household spigot. So you see how it cleans all the stuff out. I mean, it's not weak. It really has strength to it. I'm going to demonstration that it's soft enough and gentle enough to clean off your hands some dirt. All right, clean all the dirt off your hands. But it's powerful enough to clean it off your surfboard and other things. your shoes even, you get your shoes dirty. Cleans all your shoes right off. All the dirt right off your board. It's plenty powerful. I'm getting the shoes dirty again, but got plenty of power to do that. And all these tests I've done has been on one tank of water. Haven't refilled it, haven't done anything else. I'm filling all of it in one tank of water. That's that. I clean the shoes off again, I guess. My hand. And it's still soft enough that won't hurt your hand. Feature I'd like to show on our wash-away system is how we made the compressor removable, because it's good for filling up tires if you got a flat tire, or it's an inflator too, which you don't need to remove it to inflate it, but you just take these bungees off, and it's very solid. I'll show you afterwards. And you can take it over to your car tire. And I don't have a flat right now, but if I did, I could just take off the compressor line, unthread my my valve caps, and I thread it right on. And you can use it just like you'd use the compressor if you bought the DeWalt compressor by itself. And this is showing me it's at 53 psi. I think my thing's set for 50, but I'll just set it for like 50. I'll set it for 100, whatever, and just show you that it will run it. And you could use it as that. So like if you ever got a flat tire on the road when you're going to the beach or whatnot, you could take the compressor off your system and use it to fill up your tire. So this is just showing how it clips back on and how strong it is. You just run these under the handle. They follow the seam of the compressor line. Then you just clip them in here, just bungee strap. And then this one comes up and around and slides in there. Get it on. And it's rock solid on there. Like, it might look like it's moving, but you could pick the whole thing up. I mean, the thing weighs 15 pounds just off this bungee strap. It's not going to come off. And if you take it up, shake it, you can flip it upside down, any orientation, it won't fall off. It's solid on there. Might jingle a little bit, but not much. And also it's nice that it's set like this, because if you were going to do a hard attachment, like make a bracket with bolts, but it might vibrate and rattle this because when the compressor runs. But this is nice because it gives it some play to vibrate, and not cause like any damage or anything to the compressor itself by it being like rock solid to the vessel. One last little feature the compressor has, and this is one of the main reasons why we picked this. There's other compressors made by like Makita, Milwaukee, and what's the other one? I can't think of the other company that makes it. But anywho, this one was nice because this one you could plug into your 12-volt adapter in your car, and it'll run the compressor. If say your battery ran out of battery, right? And you plug it in, you got to the beach, and oh wow, my battery's at 0, and you go and click the thing. This one's at 2 now, but say it was 0 and it won't run your compressor. You have the decision to plug it into your car's 12-volt power source and run the compressor off that.